Good morning and welcome to the very first edition of the Morning Ride in the month of November. My name is Ogaga Ekam, and on behalf of the board, management and staff of Delta Broadcasting Service, I officially welcome you to today's broadcast. It is the third day in the month of November 2025, about 58 days to the end of the year, and yes, it's a penultimate month to the end of the year. And I could remember during the weekend I started hearing Christmas carols, and would I say it came early, but it is as anticipated, because from the month of November we start hearing the jingle bells and all of that, Felix Navidad and all of that. So it's an exciting season. There is also the debate whether the rains are over or should we expect more. But either ways, it is hot. Yes, the heat is beginning to creep in gradually. But here on Morning Ride this morning, I don't know if they say Nigeria is facing the heat as well, but we've got a lot of exciting segments for you on the ride this morning. We'll have the trending news. Of course, we'll also review the different headlines across the dailies, and we have guest interviews for you as well. Yes, so very quickly, let me bring you up to speed with some of the things that are trending from the weekend up until now. Now, Professor Atakpo warns on regulated sand dredging, threatens Niger Delta groundwater. A professor of applied geophysics at Delta State University, DELSU, Professor Edmund Atakpo, has cautioned that unregulated sand dredging in the Niger Delta is putting groundwater resources at risk. Delivering the university's 114th inaugural lecture in Abraka, he said removing protective soil layers makes aquifers vulnerable to contamination from waste, oil spills, and runoff, exposing communities to severe health dangers. He called for strict regulation, improved monitoring, and sustainable dredging practices to protect the underground environment, which he described as a vital source of freshwater and economic life for the region. Now, when it comes to sand dredging and all of that, is something that has become a very, very common business, especially now that we see real estate everywhere in every nook and cranny. The real estate sector is expanding and becoming more known and in the face of people. So sand dredging, because as long as you keep building, sand will be needed. And now the Professor Atakpo, he is warning that a regulation has to be put in place. It has to be regulated because it has its negatives. It has its down effect. So it's a good one. It's something that you should go read up on to understand more about this and know about the negative effects it has on society. Now, this is one of the biggest stories, arguably the biggest stories that has come out from the weekend up until now. President Donald Trump on Saturday threatens to send US forces into Nigeria with guns ablazing in quotes if Africa's most populous country does not stem what he described as the killing of Christians by Islamists. Now, this is coming a day after American president declared Nigeria a country of particular concern over killings of Christians, describing the situation as a mass slaughter. He said the United States cannot stand by and watch while such atrocities are happening, directing Congressman Riley Moore and House Appropriations Chairman Tom Cole to investigate the matter. Responding on Saturday, President Tinubu, in a statement he personally signed, dismissed claims that Nigeria is hostile towards Christians, insisting the country remains committed to religious freedom and tolerance. President Tinubu explained that since 2023, his administration has maintained open engagement with both Christian and Muslim leaders while tackling security challenges affecting citizens across faiths and regions. Now, when you see this story, most the presidency spokespersons, they've come out to defend that Nigeria is not religion intolerant, and the killings are not just focused on Christians. So I've almost said that President Trump's claims, he did that without proofs, without evidence. He just says thousands of Christians are being killed. No data, no statistics to prove that actually more Christians are killed than Muslims. Because other divides, other different perspectives have said that nobody is denying the fact that there is insecurity in Nigeria, that Nigerians are being killed and lives are being lost to insecurity. But they are saying that now streamlining it to just Christians, it's not very accurate. That when these terrorists, they strike, they do not care about whether you are Christian or Muslims, just like churches have been attacked. Same thing has been done to mosques and all of that. So you're saying this claim by the US President Donald Trump is not accurate. Meanwhile, on social media, you know, Nigeria is a country where we can say we like cruise and all of that. Nigerians, because of the pain as well, beyond the cruise, because of the pain as well, the netizens, they see it as a welcome development that the President of the United States is free to send in troops to end the insecurity if the Nigerian government is not willing to do the needful. But of course, like others have also argued, Nigeria is a sovereign state, so it doesn't augur well. It doesn't put Nigeria in a good light. So diplomacy has been advised to engage, which the president has said he would do, and he will engage with the president of the United States. He said it's either going to be in the State House here in Nigeria or in Washington in the US. So either ways, I believe that one thing that all Nigerians can agree on, whether you agree that Christians are being killed more or you argue that both Christians and Muslims are being killed, one thing that all Nigerians can agree on is that Nigerians are dying due to insecurity, and that the leaders, the president, the state governors, security agencies need to secure the lives of Nigerian citizens. Now to the next story. The Warri-Itakpen train has derailed in Agbo area of the state 4 days after the resumption of train service was announced. Now, the Nigerian Railway Corporation, NRC, confirmed the incident in a statement on Sunday. It said that the derailment, which occurred at about 7:30 p.m. on Saturday, might have been caused by vandals. It also said 2 out of the 7 coaches of the Warri-Itakpen train service were involved. The NRC, in a statement signed by its Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer Kayode Opeifa, however, said no casualties were recorded. Opeifa also said train services on the corridor had been temporarily suspended for a comprehensive safety audit of the track and related infrastructure. Now, when I think about this story, a question came to mind, wanting to ask, is Nigeria really ready for the railway, the train means of transportation? But when you think of the years Nigeria has come, how long Nigeria has been in existence, from independence, of course, I remember back then, my dad would talk about rail stations and all of that. So is it that the nation is retrogressing? Because this train station, this Warri-Itakpen train station, was shut down for a couple of months. And a few weeks ago, they announced that they were back and now to see this. So it begs the question, during the process of putting your house in order and all of that, what really transpired? Because this is not the first time that we are hearing such stories about the derailment of a train and all of that, and vandalism of the tracks. So it means that it still brings us back to the issue of insecurity. Now, insecurity in Nigeria is something that we're seeing that is cutting across board. Be it claims of being religious, be it along the lines of ethnicity, or even in the means of transportation. Because we've heard different reports, be it via road, via train. We've heard that people were kidnapped, killed while traveling. So it is something that it's another call on the security forces, security agencies to do the needful. Because, and as a Nigerian citizen, we cannot keep doing this to ourselves. If we need development, we should not destroy infrastructure that is put in place. because this is for the development of the nation. I know of a friend who wanted to travel to Abuja in recent times, but normally he does that majorly through train because it is cheaper, relatively cheaper. But because of this closure of the temporary closure of the Warri Takwe train station and all of that, he had to go by flight, and it cost him over 100,000 more. You can imagine that. So in a nation where people are struggling to survive, to make ends meet, somebody is spending more to travel because of vandals, because of insecurity. So I think that the first thing that needs to put in place is we need to employ technology. Technology needs to be employed because the tracks needs to be washed so that when a vandal is going there, they will spot it in time. Not the ones that we fix this now, spend monies, taxpayers' monies, your money and my money, to fix the track. Then in 2 weeks, a month, in 3 months, then we heard that it's been vandalized. And thankfully this time, there were no casualties, because sometimes it even goes beyond the monies that were spent. Lives could have been lost as well. People could have been incapacitated. So this is a call yet again. It's a call yet again. It's not time for politicking where they say this administration has done this administration has done that. It's a call yet again for the leaders, those that were voted into authority, to carry their responsibility of protecting the lives and property of the Nigerian citizen. The federal government has approved the release of an additional 11.995 billion naira within the next 72 hours to settle outstanding arrears and allowances owed to health workers across the country, as part of efforts to avert a looming strike and restore industrial harmony in the health sector. The Ministry of Health and Social Welfare confirmed that the funds are part of the arrears from the 25 and 35% salary review for doctors, nurses, and other professionals under the CONMES and CONHES salary structures. According to the Minister of State for Education, Dr. Adekunle Salako, the disbursement follows the directive of President Bola Tinubu to ensure prompt payment of all outstanding benefits to health workers, including members of the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, NAD. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors has announced a total and indefinite strike effective midnight Saturday, November 1, 2025. This action follows what the association describes as the federal government's persistent failure to address its outstanding demands despite several warnings and extended deadlines. Now, as I stated earlier, these are headlines that major headlines from the weekend up until now. So now this is coming from the association, Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, NAD, who progressed on an indefinite strike from November on due to non-payment of their allowances and salaries. Now we've moved from the issue of insecurity to workers' welfare. This is also, we've heard about the Japa syndrome, something that is also plaguing the Nigerian economy. So apart from insecurity, we have brain drain, where our intelligent, talented citizens, they leave the country because of situations like this: poor welfare packages, poor remuneration. They move out of the countries, they go for greener pastures because their talent, their skills, their abilities are better appreciated elsewhere. And we cannot let this to continue to happen. We cannot let this to continue to happen. The National Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, they've been calling, they've been clamoring. This is not what our hospitals cannot be shut. It cannot be shut down. Because what will happen to that pregnant lady whose EDD is today, whose EDD is tomorrow? What happens to that accident victim? What happens to that high BP patient? So the federal government yet again has to put its house in order. It's a whole lot happening right now. And that's why when ahead of the 2027 general elections, I see the politicking, I am saddened, especially when it's not the right time yet, when we have a lot happening. And one of the painful things is that when we hear ministers or people that are part of this administration coming out to say that, or even in previous administrations, we've seen that Nigeria has a lot of doctors that were not missing out on anybody that is deciding to leave the country for another country to go and work. No. The patient to, or the doctor to patient ratio is very alarming right now in Nigeria. So it's not something that we should support, losing our talents. And it's not by policies, putting policies of if you schooled in a Nigerian university, you should work for certain years, you should use that degree, you should serve your country, work for a certain duration before you be permitted to travel out. No. To me, that's misplaced priority, because we've seen this deliberation in the past when they say because of the brain drain, they said, okay, so they've got put a policy in place that if you school in Nigeria, Nigeria cannot train you, you cannot benefit from the educational sector, and you carry all that you have gotten from the sector to serve another country. So, I mean, that's misplaced priority. If you cater to the needs of these persons that are serving the country, they will stay. Because truth is, there's no place like home. If you leave your fatherland to another country, the best you can be in that is a second citizen. You will never be treated. The rights that you have in your own motherland will not be similar to the one you possess in another country. So the average Nigerian actually wants to remain in Nigeria, but our leaders, are they doing the needful to keep these persons here? Your guess is as good as mine. And now to the last major story we have here today. In recognition of his unmatched support for sports and athletes, Governor Sheriff Oborevwori has been inducted into the Nigeria Order of Sports and honored with the Distinguished Governor Award by the Sports Writers Association of Nigeria, SWAN. The award was presented during SWAN's Diamond Jubilee celebration at the MKO Abiola Stadium, Abuja, marking 60 years of excellence in sports journalism. SWAN commended Oborevwori's administration for its investments in sports infrastructure, grassroots development, and athletes' welfare, citing the reconstruction of the Warri Township Stadium, Delta's dominance at the National Sports Festival, and the state's strong presence in Team Nigeria at international competitions. Receiving the award on behalf of the governor, his senior special assistant on media, Mr. Fred Idore, who was also conferred with the SWAN Fellowship Award, expressed appreciation to the association for recognizing Delta's leadership in sports and development. Now, the truth is, this is something we cannot take away from Delta State, from the government, from the governor himself. Delta State government has done very well when it comes to sports. Recently, he gave out 2 buses to, I think, Delta Queens and Warri Wolves to aid their transportation and aid convenience when they move to stadium, when they move from one place to the other as it relates to their football matches and all of that. So it's very commendable. And when it also comes to the National Sports Festival, we've seen how Delta athletes have done exceptionally well across the country. So this credit goes to the governor, to the Delta State government, and the Sports Commission. So it's a very, very welcome development, and it is a worthy recognition by the Sports Writers Association of Nigeria. So congratulations to the Delta State Governor, Right Honorable Sheriff Oborevwori. And that's it on the trending headlines. We still got a lot in store for you on Monday's edition of the Morning Ride. We have paper review coming up shortly, and of course we have our guest interviews. Do stay tuned.
The commitment of Oborevwori to a peaceful Delta is unshaken. The commitment of Oborevwori to a Delta that becomes #1 investment destination is also unshaken. His commitment to also ensuring that our people become gainfully employed remains also unshaken. governor, from the time he campaigned, contested, and won the election, was very clear on the need to carry all Deltans along, listen more, and do more. The governor has demonstrated fairness across all divide, bringing developments that are meaningful to the different communities, ensuring that we embark on reforms that are realistic enough to, of course, trigger a whole lot of development across the 25 local government areas, and at the same time, creating opportunities for all aspects of our dear state. Oborowori approach to governance is what Nigerians want, and that is what is giving Deltans, and that is an approach that values everybody. So those who want to drag him to one corner and want to foment trouble, Oborowori is not buying that. So perhaps they may need to close shop because they are not likely going to get a customer in Oborowori.
Wetin dey happen?
Now my cousin brother, he visit Saple recently. He say he surprised wetin I see. Say true when he dey hear say Governor Sheriff dey work for the 25 local government, say him be dey get doubts. But he don find out say everywhere when he travel go, he get one project or the other when Governor Sheriff dey do. He recently enter Saple. He see and say Governor Sheriff don construct Major Bowen Road from Okpe Road to New Ogorode Road.
And even construction dey in progress for Uko Road from Benin Road through Otuedo. Even for Old Saple Wari Road from Amukpe Junction to Ikwewu Community, construction still in progress.
For this same Saple so?
Yes, for Saple. Me I hear say Governor Sheriff don do Saple Wari Road to Gammon Bridge.
For Saple so?
Yes now.
Now my brother dey talk. Say Governor Sheriff don do Ororo, Chester and Benjamin Osaregbaje Road.
Me I hear sef say the road where Governor Sheriff dey construct for Benin Road from Green Ekpedi Road for Lipia to Abeke Road, say he go soon complete am. Yes sir.
Governor Sheriff,
I hear am.
as him dey do infrastructures everywhere, na so you still dey do human empowerment.
Governor Sheriff Oborowori don train and empower over 250,000 youths across the state.
Delta Cares Fadama don distribute agricultural inputs to farmers for Oko Ogbele community for Oshimili South.
To farmers o. Wetin you dey think like that?
Abi make I change career?
You get long way to go. Governor Sheriff projects na brought to you by Delta State Ministry of Information.
You're welcome back, and still on the interview segment, we're going to be looking at drug abuse, the preventive measures.
Welcome back. It's still Monday's edition of the Morning Ride here on Delta Television, and it's time now for us to x-ray the different headlines across the dailies. We have the Nigerian Tribune, the Punch, the Guardian, the Matrix, Daily Sun, the Daily Monitor, Daily Trust, Leadership, and the Blueprint newspaper. Let's start with the Nigerian Tribune. The major headline here says, Country of Particular Concern, what it means for Nigeria. We've got a couple of riders: economic sanctions, international isolation, ban on IMF, World Bank loans, others. Another rider: Boko Haram, Al-Shabaab designated entities of particular concern in 2023. Tinubu to meet Trump over Christian genocide claim, and this is a statement credited to the presidency. US should assist with technology to combat insecurities, coming from Kwankwaso, a former presidential candidate for the new Nigeria People's Party. Tinubu should convene meeting of past Nigeria leaders, coming from Lamido. Still more headlines from the Nigerian Tribune. PDP crisis, uncertainty over control of National Secretariat. The rider anxious stakeholders, staff members fear possible clash. And on health, dance alleviates perceived symptoms of depression, and this is according to a study. So you should dance. Despite what's happening in Nigeria, you're encouraged to dance. Tinubu's economic reforms essential for Nigeria's growth are coming from Edo State Governor Okpebolo. Monday Okpebolo. Okay, CPPA endorses 15% fuel imports duty. The rider says policy will catalyze local refining, industrial growth. And to the top strip of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper, Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN, projects 3.1% real growth, 10.2% contribution to GDP in 2026. The rider calls for approval of 1 trillion naira stabilization fund, expansion of BOI capital base. And lastly, from the Nigerian Tribune, troops kill terrorists, arrest 20, rescue 17 kidnap victims. Now, I'd love us to take it a paper at a time. We just take some of the major headlines. Now, of course, we cannot turn away from the major headline here on the Nigeria Tribune, country of particular concern. And of course, I'm not in the studio alone. I have the paper analyst with me this morning, the person of Mr. Ejime Odueme. Good morning. It's good to have you on the show.
It's a pleasure.
Yes, you are glittering.
Thank you.
Your color combination wants to blind my eye, from your wristwatch to your bracelet to your attire. You look
Thank
good.
you so much.
You look good. Okay, so country of particular concern, what it means for Nigeria.
You know, for quite some time now, and for upwards of years, we've been battling with insecurity in Nigeria. Now, the President of America, Donald Trump, has beamed his torchlight on the killings, assassination, maiming of Christians across the country. And being a president that is a Christian, he has that feeling that a fellow Christian or fellow Christians are being killed for no just cause in Nigeria, and the president of Nigeria and leaders across board, security apparatus, are not doing enough to curtail such. That is the major concern. You know, when they say a country of concern, they are narrowing it down to certain levels. And we know that if the issue is not handled, not tackled the way it should be done, Nigeria may be sanctioned by the American government, either through the economic sector, loan grants, and so many other things. And when you look at the issue of insecurity, for more than a decade now, we've been battling with the issue of insurgency, Boko Haram, and so many other groups that want to destabilize the peace that Nigerians are enjoying. And to me, I feel it is a welcome development. More so when we know that if, as a nation, we are unable to tackle all of this, and we are seeing foreign assistance, it's not as if we went to them to seek for such assistance. Let's allow them come in and do the needful, because these insurgents, they are not rocket science. They are not people who you say they are spirit. These are people who have designated areas where they are operating from. It appears to be that there is a compromise in some part of the country where all of this is happening. Because if we are able to come up with a concerted effort towards dealing with them holistically, is it through the air, through the land, through the water, through the sea, we have all that it takes to do all of this. But for more than 10 years, we've not been able to do the needful. And the American government appears to be concerned about the state of things. More so when we have representatives.
So you think there's no personal interest in all of this?
There may be, but the overall good is for us to wipe away all of these insurgents out of the nation. We know that it's not practically possible to bring insecurity to a zero level. But with their assistance, reaching an agreement with them, I think when I heard that Mr. President will be visiting America, say by tomorrow from the presidency, it's a win-win situation if I'm asked to air my own view. Irrespective of the economic coloration to this, what we stand to part with for them to assist us. What we want now is for these people who have taken some local government areas in some part of the country. They are in control of some local government in the northeastern part of the country. So the issue of Boko Haram, ISWAP, and so many others, they have overstayed their welcome. And it has been a recurring decimal. All effort towards sending them packing has not yielded the necessary result, the required result. I think at this juncture, there is need for us to look inwards and see how we can synergize with the American government and other foreign bodies towards ensuring that insecurity is addressed once and for all. For us to grow economically, for industrialization to thrive, and so many other investors. Mr. President has traveled out of the country severally to woo investors to come and invest here. Nobody will come here and invest when you know that the atmosphere is not clear, it's not safe for you to do business. Our image internationally is battered because of so many things that are coming from this part of the world, not positive things. The good name that we built over the years have been swallowed up by some of these ugly trends.
Okay, so if you put that side by side with another headline from the Nigerian Tribune, says troops kill terrorists, arrest 20, rescue 17 kidnap victims. Do you think our security agencies, they are doing enough?
They may have given their best.
Is their best good enough in your opinion?
But their best is not good enough for Nigerians. Because one, we know that these are selected persons who have upheld patriotism as it were, who have agreed that they are ready to lose their lives for Nigeria to remain in peace. When you hear they destabilized this, they deleted this, they did this, I don't think they have done much by way of what is happening. Because when you are looking at a segment of it, if ISWAP, Boko Haram, and others, they are operating in about 11 states, and you are only conquering them in one local government. when you compare the impact of insurgency on the nation and the retaliation that we are getting, it's not commensurate with the life we have lost so far. Look at Benue. Look at so many areas where they have a stronghold. They have done worse things than what we hear. I think for now that the issue is even under-publicized. If people are allowed to go to the theater of war to see where all of this is happening, you can't sleep with your two eyes closed. It's just that in this part of the world we are enjoying relative peace. Let me put it that way. But in some part of the country, there are places where people cannot go to their mosque, people cannot go to churches, people cannot go and exercise their daily activities by way of going to market to trade and so many other things. There is outward show of force by these insurgents. They are telling you that they are running a parallel government. Who shouldn't be? We are in a democratic setting. We should allow peace reign across board. We also know that among the security agencies, there appears to be compromise. A situation whereby you are trying to swoop in on a certain location to see how you can bombard them. Before you arrive there, they have gotten enough information. They are able to ambush them. They kill highly trained military officers. So many of these things have been happening unchecked. Even with the little effort coming from sister agencies, they've been synergizing. But what we want to hear, what Nigerians want to see, is a situation whereby we even take the fight to their own domain, rather than they bringing the fight to us. That is what we want to hear now. Because recently we hear of a threat alert that they may even attack Abuja. If you look at it with a wave of the hand, you at least you witness we saw how it happened in time past, a situation whereby the capital city, which is the seat of power, was under threat, and they were able to unleash mayhem on innocent people. So all of this should not be allowed to thrive anymore.
All right. Let's move quickly to the Punch newspaper. The lead, CPC blacklist. 12 Nigerian governors, other officials may face U.S. sanctions. The rider, government officials, judges risk. Government officials, judges risk asset freeze in new U.S. law. Tinubu, U.S. VP may meet amid tensions. Coup controversy. Silva's brother, driver still in custody. Student loan applicants hit 1 million, and this is coming from Nelfund. Doctors dispute federal government's 11.9 billion naira payout. Strike continues. Okay, not a good one. Health sector.
You know that when doctors go on strike, not like if DBS decides to go on strike, the only thing people will suffer is they will be starved of information. Sure. But they have other sources of information. But when doctors go on strike, lives are lost, resources are lost, instability sets in, and so many other negative things. I think their request, their demand may not be too high, too much for the federal government to tackle, and this has lingered for so long a time. There is need for stakeholders in the health sector, the federal government, and NAD to meet and arrive at a total conclusion where all of this will just be addressed and let it end. Because I once witnessed this incessant strike when I had a patient in the hospital. You'll be surprised that whether you are not seeking, you are suffering from life-threatening ailments, doctors will not. They will just overlook the oath they took towards saving life and abandon the patient, and the person dies. And when somebody dies, there is nothing you could do. The best you could do is just to pray that so it does not happen anymore. It has happened and it has happened. When life is lost, it cannot be.
There's no form of consolation.
Yes, and it's not something that you quantify, and it's a priceless thing. So whatever thing that needs to be done in the health sector, for crying out loud, Nigerians have suffered in so many sectors. Let the health sector favor us. Are we talking about road? Are we talking about electricity? This is an area where the rich, the poor, the ugly, every segment of the society, one way or the other, the health sector is directly linked to our lives. And I want to appeal to the necessary bodies, the federal government especially, to look into this issue and let sleeping dog lie. We are tired of hearing that the mortality rate has increased in this area and so many other things. More so when we know that the health sector, the challenges in the health sector is evolving by the day. So many new health threats is coming up on a daily basis. These persons should be well remunerated. We've been hearing of Japa syndrome. All the good hands we have, they have all left the shores of the country to where they could see greener pasture. All of these need to be looked into so that some of them, if they see that the pay package here is comparable to what they have over there, there is, who says they cannot come back? They will come back home because there is no place as sweet as your home. If you travel out, you see the difference, irrespective of the environmental factor outside there. But when you come home, you know that you have freedom, you have peace, you have opportunity of fraternizing with your kings and kindred. That is the way to go.
Okay, still more headlines from the Punch. NDLEA arrests musician, uncovers Lagos illicit drug laboratory. Diri joins APC today, cites Bielsa's interest. Now the PDP, they are losing their major governors. And still on issues from the PDP crisis. Makinde bloc regroups as autumn. Fayose back Wike. Now, what do you have to say about all that is happening in the PDP? Now, remember from the Nigerian Tribune, there was this headline, PDP crisis, uncertainty over control of National Secretariat. Anxious stakeholders, staff members fear possible clash. Now, and we also saw the suspension galore that happened.
This one was suspended,
another one. So what is really going on?
Okay, let me kick off with the Nigerian adage that says that not until the rotten tooth is pulled out of the mouth will continue to chew with caution. What do I mean by that? You know that PDP at a time thought they were the strongest party in Africa.
They thought, they were actually. They didn't think they were actually.
The strongest party in Africa, and how the mighty fallen. You know, one thing is to form a political party. Another is for the political party to work in consonance with its terms, its constitutions, and so many other things. PDP, prior to 2023 general election, had an issue that was not addressed immediately it happened. That was the presidential primaries that produced Atiku Abubakar as the presidential candidate of the PDP. And we know too that the former governor of Rivers State and now minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, is a big player and has been a big player in the PDP family. And before the presidential election of 2023, we saw how he had G5 governors who were hobnobbing with him. They were moving from one part of the country to the other, saying that now that PDP has refused to work as a team, they will do all they can to bring the party to its knees. And that is exactly what is happening today. Somebody who is now a henchman of Mr. President, and it does not belong to the APC family, he's still in the PDP family, knowing fully well that as a politician with high level of intelligence, politically speaking, Wike is one of the players who can do anything to bring any house down. And that is exactly what he's doing. He's not ready to leave the PDP family. He is there to ensure that that virus that he has introduced into the PDP, eat up the party, and they refuse to sanction him. Immediately that presidential primaries was held, I was there live in Abuja. We even thought that as soon as he was just speaking from both sides of his mouth, saying that he was not going to work for the party, that was the right time to send him and his colleagues packing out of the party. And today, you are telling me that you want to rebuild a party that does not have up to 5 governors as it is now. Before the year runs out, we just have less than two months for this year 2025 to run out. I can tell you for free that more governors will veer into the APC family. Are you talking about members of the National Assembly, talking about senators and members of the House of
Reps? They already have
even at the state level, so many House of Assembly members who came into office via the PDP ticket are now already in APC, and nothing is happening as far as that is concerned. 2, when you look at a PDP, the only way and the only reason for that people want PDP to revive again is if it is able to bury its ego and allow the rule of law to prevail. You cannot be going to court today, there is a ruling this way, you refuse to obey it, another one is coming up, and you don't want to invoke the full weight of the law on offenders. If you don't do that, the party will continue to crumble. Today now, we are looking at Bayelsa State. The governor is officially declaring any moment from now. And when Mr. Governor, talking about Diri, made his intention known to the public that he was defected, his deputy, Uru Jakbo said he was not going with him, and that is another issue now. Before the assembly has they've concluded plans to send him packing to either impeach him or otherwise. But there is a court injunction that appears to restrain them for now. But I know that that is a time bomb that may explode any moment from now. So PDP is not willing, and the handlers of the party, stakeholders of the party, they are not really ready to wash his hands of all of these fitness. Not until they do that, PDP will continue to go down, knowing fully well that politicians don't think about what is happening now. They think about what will happen tomorrow and what will happen in 20 years to come. Most of these persons who are leaving the PDP family, they are not leaving the PDP family because they so much love their people. They are leaving the PDP family because of their political ambition. And you know that a politician, if you're already in your first tenure, what do you think about again? Apart from governance, the next item is how you could garner the political muscle to go for second tenure. And when you want to talk about second tenure, if you are in PDP now, I think you running for any elected position, your hope is on the balance.
Yes, because first
the
of all,
reason
who's
being
your
that
secretary?
The reason being that you don't have a secretary, you don't have an authentic chairman, and the issue of the convention where all of these decisions are made is inconclusive, and it has not been done. They have fixed the date severally, and each time they fix the date, they are always in the habit of postponing it, either as a result of one court injunction and the other. The judiciary too should also help to allow all of this be. Somebody cannot just come and say, because I don't like this process, you want to be a clog in the wheel of progress. Judiciary should stand by the rule of law, and when judgment is made, they should go extra mile and ensure that all of this is enforced. One is to ensure that a ruling comes out. Another is it in practice?
Is it enforced? So, lastly on this, what do you think about Makinde? Do you think he's been hypocritical? Because he was part of the G5. Now he's now acting as a staunch.
No. Makinde, being somebody from the Southwest, will definitely work for Mr. President. And you know too that...
you think he's working for Mr. President now that it's even... But the headline says it's against Wike. Makinde blocked the groups as Autumn Fayose back.
They were the ones who introduced this virus that is eating up PDP.
So you think this might still be part of the ploy?
Yes. You know, when you look at politics, the gimmicks, the politics is just too deep. When you look at the periphery, you think that all is well. But inwardly, somebody may appear to be a PDP member during the daytime. What of the meetings he attends at night? So, whatever Makinde is saying now, time will tell if he is actually against Mr. Wike. You know that somebody like Mr. Wike, former governor of Rivers State, is somebody to be feared. Somebody who can go extra mile. When you talk about the legal system, he's very grounded. And he knows how to maneuver his way. All the cases he has taken to the judiciary, he won all. Look at the issue between him and the governor of Rivers State. Nobody thought that it was going the way it went. Even when the issue of state of emergency was introduced, Wike was still there. And Wike is somebody who does not want to leave the PDP family. He is just there. What he wants to do is to bring PDP to ground zero. When he's done with that, it is on that ground that he can even make his... He may not even defer to APC. The reason being that he's in total conformity with Mr. President. If you have the nod and support of the #1 citizen of a nation, what else are you looking for? In Rivers State, if Mr. President wants to run for the presidency come 2027, Rivers State, Wike has the political structure, he has the might and everything to ensure that the party wins in Rivers State. More so, you know that himself is just like a forerunner who is preparing the ground to see what happens in Rivers State now, because we know that the reinstated governor, talking about Fubara right now, does not know whether to defect into APC will save him further or to still remain in PDP. That is a question for another day.
All right. Quickly, the Guardian newspaper is next. Major headline: Trump's warning unsettles Nigeria, raises concerns over religion sovereignty. You can get that on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. How DSS aborted Utomi's aberrative shadow cabinet through legal process. NRC train derails 189th time 3 days after resumption.
It's most unfortunate because we know that a lot of billions of dollars have been sunk into the issue of our railway system. People appear to be patronizing our rail system by virtue of the fact that most of our federal roads are in shambles. Are you talking about moving from Asaba now to Lagos? Are you talking about moving from Abuja to Lagos? So many of our federal roads go to the north, the same thing. So people appear to be patronizing the rail system, being an alternative route where you could travel seamlessly. If you go to developed world, when you are done with the issue of flight, the next item is
when we see public officials, they use the train.
They use the rail system, and it's planned in such a way that when you talk about speed, when you talk about efficiency, when you talk about reduced cost and so many other things, it's an alternative to flying on air. But here we are in Nigeria, we have heard severally. Are you talking about the issue of some of them who had the issue of insecurity while traveling on the rail, and now the thing is veering off his route? And I don't know. Is it that we are giving this job to contractors that are not vast as far as the construction of the railway system is concerned?
Preliminary investigations of the track. That is to say the least, because if you have a track system here, there should be a security mechanism in place to ensure that it is not tampered. When you know that for a train to move from one station to the other, it carries thousands of persons, and when an error occurs, so many of these souls are at risk. It boils down to the fact that we don't take most of the things we do here seriously. Security men are supposed to be on guard day and night. Are we talking about the issue of deploying drones to monitor the route through which the rails ply through? We look at some of these things with a wave of the hand. Somebody is in charge. People should be made to face the consequences of their failure to do what they need to do, and at the right time. Lives have been threatened severally, and some persons lost their lives, not basically because they died right inside the train, but because of the shock that absorbed them while it happened. So right now we are not talking about the fact that men of the underworld attacked them. This is just a mechanical error. And if some persons are fingered as far as this is concerned, let the people be prosecuted. They should be made to face the full weight of the law. And the persons concerned, as far as the rail system is concerned, they have to sit up, because Nigerians have tolerated a lot of I don't care lifestyle from people who are given enviable positions to handle. And at the end of it all, we are left with nothing. Resources are lost. Lives are lost, and nobody is made to account for all of this. All right, so we'll just take two more headlines from the Guardian newspaper. Resident doctors, federal government clash over 48 billion naira arrears as strike paralyzes hospitals nationwide. And the last headline from the Guardian newspaper, NUJ decries surge in attacks, impunity against journalists. So what do you have to say?
You know, there is no profession without its hazards. Just as media practitioners are confronted with a lot of challenges in the course of executing your job, there are times you are sent to cover an assignment. While at the spot of the assignment, security men may not allow the cameramen to roll with their cameras. Reporters are not allowed to go beyond certain areas. We know for sure that as the watchdog of the society, when you want to report, you must report fast. How do you report fast? You report fast based on what you see by yourself, not what somebody tells you. But we are in an era where the issue of social media appears to be in the center stage, where you go through the social media, you hear a lot of junks. People no longer go into thorough investigative journalism. They just rely their reports on hearsay. Imagine a situation as viable, as reliable as the Punch newspaper is. For them to have gone ahead to write about the MD of NDDC, that he was arrested and it was on the front page of the paper, and most of the national dailies, they came up with such report. And there was no iota of truth. I was surprised the next day I saw the man on live TV where he was flagging off a program in Port Harcourt. That was a big shame on the media world, because right now we are faced with what I call armchair criticism, where people could be in their bedroom, you wake up with information, news items that do not have direct bearing with what is in conformity with the reality of what we have today. So when you talk about harassment of journalists, I think as journalists we need to look inwards. I, for one, I want to do journalism and sleep with my two eyes closed. Not a situation whereby I am paid, or because I don't like the face of Mr. Eddie Ekpri, I want to bring him down because I have a lot of followers on the social media. I come out with a fictitious write-up. So if we're able to clean ourselves of all the impurities around us, I think the issue of harassment will be reduced to the barest minimum. And the laws guiding the profession, I think practitioners should ensure that they are properly groomed, they are trained. You know, most times people no longer have the requisite knowledge to practice. You just wake up because you can write. You have a lot of followers on the social media. You think you have arrived. And when you are paid to do this, you do it at the detriment of Mr. B, forgetting the fact that a day could come where you will be asked to account for your actions. So in summary, what I'm trying to say in effect is that journalists need to be trained and retrained. People who are into the practice are supposed to go to school. They are schooled on what it takes to be a journalist. And in the practice, don't veer off from the terms of reference, which is the Constitution that guides the profession. And when all of this is done, I think we have a balanced journalism in practice and in action.
Okay, so very quickly, we'll just take the Daily Sun as the last paper for today. The major headline, PDP plots survival strategy. We have two riders. Governors, BOT consider caretaker committee option. The second rider, intensify efforts to resolve crisis. ASU rejects federal government's proposed 35% salary increase for varsity lecturers. The rider insists on NIMI Briggs salary benchmark. Rising costs, weak demand, squeeze Nigeria's brewers. Joining APC in Bielsa's interest, says Governor Diri. I believe we've tackled this. The rider states trickling progress due to unity. This is coming from the Delta State Governor, Sheriff Oberewari. And lastly, from the Daily Sun newspaper, Igbo group in U.S. faults Kanu's continued trial. So very quickly, let's just talk about this Kanu's trial and all of that. Very quickly. So, right.
One, I think the issue of Nnamdi Kanu has lingered for so long a time, and I think too, if we are in a democracy, let things be done democratically. You cannot just detain somebody for upwards of 5 years, and it keeps, today they are joined from 1 month to the other. Whatever is the case, let's allow the law to prevail. Let's allow people to face the full weight of the law. If you are culpable, the person, if you have committed a crime, say you are supposed to serve a jail term for 5 years, the person should let the legal system flow as it were. Not a situation where you could drag things. We don't want this person to have a breathing space. Let's ensure that we tie him down. The issue of prolonged judgment, delay in dispensation of justice, it shouldn't be. The issue of Kanu, we know that so many persons have done worse things than what Nnamdi Kanu actually did. But if he's culpable, Let the law say it, let the judges say it, and let him go and serve the terms.
But do you actually subscribe to political solution?
Political solution. We are in this part of the world. I don't think subjecting him to a political solution is the way out. Because if you are now talking about political solution, the way he was brought into the country, was it through political? It was not the right way things were done, and he has gone through a lot of legal tussle, and for now they are still on ground zero. All of that thing, we know that if they want to negotiate now, they talk about winning the southeastern part of the country, IPOP comes in, and so many other variables. If somebody errs on the part of law, let the person go through the route of legal system, let the judges pronounce whatever crime the person has committed. And at the end of it all, this issue of if you are from some part of the country, you commit a similar offense, before you know it, they bring in tribalism and nepotism and so many other things, and the person is allowed to go. It shouldn't be. We are in a democracy, and let things be done democratically.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Ejime Udom. I think we'll leave it at that. Thank you for your in-depth analysis.
It's a pleasure.
Please do well to get yourself hard copies of the different newspapers that we have reeled out to you, or you can visit their website to get details of the story. Still, Monday's edition of the Morning Ride will go for a short break, and when we return, we'll take our guests on the interview segment. Please stay tuned.
When you're low on energy and need a break, when you're low on energy and need a break, give yourself a treat. Cadbury Hot Chocolate. Smooth, crafted from cocoa, milk, and sugar.
Some say learning is fun, but as a mom, I see how demanding it can be for my child. That's why I ensure he starts every day with a cup of Bonvita. Give your child Bonvita. It contains essential vitamins and minerals that support mental and physical vitality. Prepare them to win every day. Some say learning is fun, but as a mom, I see how demanding it can be for my child. That's why I ensure he starts every day with a cup of Bonvita. Bonvita. Prepare them to win every day.